and Mohammed Abershade. Well, I am glad that it appears that they have a Muslim attorney. That is awesome. Because now maybe they'll finally say, look, we're tired of this. We're fed up with always being blamed for things that don't seem to be real. Let me give you an example. Syed Farouk's family lawyer Friday said there was a lot of questions surrounding the shootings, and at one point floating Sandy Hook conspiracy theories, yeah, you bet, to suggest the crime did not occur as the FBI claims. In an interview with Chris Cuomo, I talked to you about last week, I was so glad I saw that at 5 a.m., Attorney David Chesley iterated reports that the attack had nothing to do with terrorism, saying there have been suggestions that it may be something that was related to their work, that somehow he was a disgruntled employee. I mean, obviously, these things were found there. How they got there, we don't know. There are a lot of questions drawn with Sandy Hook and whether or not that was a real incident or not, he says, insisting there's been a lot of speculation that the elementary school massacre that killed 20 children and 6 adults. Anyway, the story goes on to say that they are questioning and they need more information. They need more facts. They can't make a decision. And I can't imagine that defense attorney now thinking, and the house has been released to the journalist. I mean, you should have seen the animals called journalists that were in there lifting up every piece of paper. They had papers. Oh, it was crazy. Baby stuff. By the way, no bomb-making stuff in there at all. So that's the other thing is focusing on the victims. You've noticed that. It's always about the victims. It's always about the victims. It's always about the victims. Well, let's go to some victims' families and show you how sad they are that they've lost their loved ones. Well, that's not part of the factual part of the case. But that's what they're doing. So anyway, the journalists now have refused to talk about storming the San Bernardino suspect's home, which they did. And Activist Post did a whole anatomy of false flag events. I would encourage you to go to the email blast and read it. Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11, London 7/7 bombings, Madrid train bombings, Osama bin Laden capture and death, 2011 Norway attacks, Charlie Hebdo, Boston bombing, Sandy Hook. These people are busy, aren't they? But think about the extent to which they will go for the agenda. JFK, RFK, MLK, Pearl Harbor, Lusitania, USS Maine, Gulf of Tonkin, USS Liberty, Aurora, Colorado shooting, Charleston church shooting, Tucson, Arizona shooting, Port Arthur, AUS, are all very real illusions, he says. Well, I believe people were killed. When we come back from this break, former President Jimmy Carter announces he is cancer-free. And it was drugs. And if you get one of those waivers for a vaccine, well, wait till you sign it till after you hear this. We'll be back. 1 minute, 10 seconds.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay.
Every Thursday night at 7 on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050.
KCAA invites you to listen to professional money manager Bill Gunderson every weekday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. Bill Gunderson is a highly respected money manager. He's a regular contributor to MarketWatch, TheStreet.com, and Town Hall Finance. Gunderson has appeared many times on the Fox News Channel, the Fox Business Network, and CNBC. You can hear Bill Gunderson's daily insight into the market at 7 a.m. weekdays, right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and KCAA FM Yucaipa 106.5 FM.
Stephanie Shelton, CNBC Radio. Futures are now indicating a mixed open on Wall Street. European markets are up. Chipotle shares falling in pre-market trading. The restaurant chain slashing its outlook for this quarter because of the E. coli outbreak. It says it can't reasonably make an estimate of comparable store sales either right now. Carl Icahn, the legendary activist investor, has taken a 12% stake in Pep Boys. Icahn says the auto parts company's business would be a perfect fit for a privately held rival Auto Plus, which Icahn already owns. It's Merger Monday, and there is some deal news. BBCN Bancorp and Wilshire Bancorp are combining in what's billed as a strategic merger of equals. Reportedly, Caesars Entertainment is lobbying to roll back a Depression-era law that could complicate the casino giant's financial restructuring. The law protects creditors in such a situation. And Lundberg says gasoline prices fell another 4 cents a gallon.
Meet Vince. Vince hurt himself mountain biking on Saturday.
Because weekend warrior.
Because noob.
Hey.
Vince is supposed to host an important presentation, but he's not going anywhere in that cast. What should he do?
Rhetorical question.
Vince should try GoToMeeting, the simple way to host meetings online, complete with video conferencing and screen sharing. Send out a meeting link and anyone can join from any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Just takes a click.
Where do I sign up?
Visit GoToMeeting.com to start your free 30-day trial. That's GoToMeeting.com.
There are no guarantees in love, but there is a guarantee from EH Plus by eHarmony, our new personal matchmaking service. At EH Plus, your own personal matchmaker gets to know you so well, we can guarantee introductions that will be satisfying and exciting. EH Plus goes far beyond regular online dating sites, and that's a guarantee. Visit us at ehplus.com/love or call 1-855-930-LOVE.
Your application looks great, but I'm not seeing any marketing experience.
The ad said mechanic needed.
Right, but I need a mechanic/marketing wizard. What do you know about reputation management?
Nothing.
Search engine optimization?
Is that under the hood?
Let Dex Media be your marketing department. We can help with any digital marketing solution from search to social. Contact Dex Media, that's DEX Media, to get found, get chosen, and get talked about. Call 844-230-3436 or visit dexmedia.com today.
With your Monday news, I'm Jim Miller for CNBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind. 2 people dead in Apple Valley Airport shut down Sunday after an airplane crashed. That plane, an L-39 jet, crashing and then catching on fire, prompted the arrival of firefighters. Investigations ongoing into the cause. No names have been released at this time. Downward trend in gas prices over the past several weeks appears to have stalled. Automobile Club of Southern California says wholesale prices have been rising in response to increased demand during the holiday season. Pump prices are not expected to fall below 2015's low point reached last January. Average price was at $2.45 a gallon compared to just under $2.80 now in Southern California. Statewide averages is about 10 cents less. Inland Regional Center employees being escorted one by one to the crime scene to retrieve their vehicles left stranded since Wednesday's deadly mass shooting that killed 14. Police officials said the FBI is gradually reaching out to employees once their vehicles have been cleared. About 80 vehicles were still left in the parking lot. A fire in a half-acre parcel of land in Moreno Valley spread to 3 different structures, which sent a huge black plume of smoke into the air and shut down roads Sunday. Fire was reported just after 1:30 in the afternoon in the area of Cottonwood Avenue and Nason Street. It started in one structure before spreading to 2 other structures of the property. Fire was finally contained about 40 minutes after firefighters got on the scene. I'm Jim Miller, CNBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker. In San Bernardino, they still have roads closed due to last week's terrorist act. Waterman Avenue, both northbound and southbound between the 10 and East Mill Street is closed. As it's a work in progress. Waterman Avenue is closed between Orange Show Road and Hospitality Lane due to the ongoing police investigation. An alternate try Mount Vernon, the 215 or Alabama. San Bernardino Avenue is also closed in both directions between Richardson and Mountain View. An alternate try 5th or the 10. In Chino, stop-and-go traffic on the 60 westbound between Mountain Avenue and the 57 Orange Freeway. The 10 west is slow in pockets from Etiwanda to the 57. The 210 west is slow from Haven Avenue to Foothill Boulevard. In Corona, stop-and-go traffic on the 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green River Road. The 71 south is busy between Pine Avenue and the 91. In Temecula, there's an accident. The shoulder is blocked on the 15 southbound at the California 79 Winchester Road. 15 south before Winchester Road, there's a crash on the left shoulder. Traffic is slow from the 215 to Rainbow Valley Boulevard. In Moreno Valley, an accident. 2 lanes are blocked on the 15 northbound before Alessandro Boulevard. 15 north before Alessandro, an injury crash is blocking the 2 left lanes. CHP has the left lane on the 215 south as well. 215 north is slow from Cactus. And finally, in Fontana, there's an accident on the 10 eastbound at Citrus Avenue. The 10 east at Citrus, a wreck involving a couple of big rigs is blocking lanes. Watch for slowing as you approach. This has been your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Rod Tanner. For today, we expect mostly sunny skies as we begin the week with a high of 79. Humidity partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 50. Tuesday should be mostly sunny and warmer with a high of 82. We'll have partly cloudy conditions Tuesday night, a low of 48. Wednesday looks mostly sunny with a high of 79. We'll have partly cloudy conditions Wednesday night with a low of 48. There's a chance of a shower through the day Thursday. Humidity mostly sunny with a high of 72. Friday again, there's a chance of rain in the morning. We'll have a mostly sunny day with a high near 60. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind. NBC News Radio, AM 1050 KCAA.
The most diversified radio station on the dial, KCAA.
Grew up in a small town, and when the rain would fall down, I'd just stare out my window, dreaming of what could be, and if I'd end up happy.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And it's just enjoying that song. We are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050 and FM 106.5. I think out of all of the winners of American Idol, she is by far the strongest vocalist.
Yeah.
Her voice is amazing.
It really is.
It really, really is. She's a true soprano and can hit just some amazing highs, but she's got an incredible range too.
Yeah, although I have to say I was disappointed. We heard her when she was on one of her tours.
Yes.
But we caught her at the very end of the tour, and I think her voice had pretty much been shot.
Yeah, she only sang for a short period of time, and she didn't sing well, and it was I think it was for her second album.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to
Yes, that was your birthday present, if I remember right, the tickets to that show.
But I think that, she had they had booked her on too many tours, too many concerts, and her voice was just raw. I mean, it just wasn't the same pure voice that I love to hear sing, and it was kind of sad.
But she's grown up, and her music she still sings poppy music.
Yeah.
I love I love her more, so the stuff that's a little less mainstream. I'm not a fan of pop music, because it's pretty formulaic.
Yeah.
And so the more interesting stuff that she's done, I really enjoy. Because, like I said, she's got an amazing voice. So, got to say good morning to Brandon McCormick. He is our superstar in the booth. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing very well.
You sound crisp and clear and awake this morning.
I am all of those things and, very happy and, On
a Monday?
I know, right?
Did you have a nice weekend?
I had a great weekend. That's why I'm so in such a good mood.
So what'd you do?
Yesterday, God, I know I did something really cool yesterday.
So whatever it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yesterday I had a lot of fun, and Saturday, being that this is a very early morning job, I get up very early. So Saturday, I slept for the majority of the day.
You know what? I did that on Friday. So there had been so many, not the majority of the day, but I did take a nap. There have been so many late nights because, doing late night interviews overseas and that sort of thing because of what happened last week. I got to Friday afternoon and I was working because I have work for my clients, and I just couldn't do it. I just had no go-go juice left. I was no amount of caffeine was going to get it going. So I laid down for what I thought would be an hour, Yeah, 2.5 hours later, I woke up feeling, oh, wow, the afternoon was gone, but I needed it.
But the good news was that she had go-go juice for later in the night. We went to Santa Claus Incorporated and had a blast. They put on a great event.
It was so beautiful.
And then we went and saw a friend of ours who was doing a comedy show over at the Royal Falconer.
Yes, and we got there just in time to see his set. It was awesome, and he made us laugh.
Yeah, the Royal Falconer in Redlands.
Yes.
And they put on a great little comedy show upstairs there. And our friend Brian Hain, who we've had on the show.
We've had Brian Hain on the show.
Killed it. He was great.
Yes, and we found out about that at the last minute. So I was glad that we were able to do it and support him because he's definitely a rising star.
Yes, he is.
And then Saturday night we went to the Redlands Christmas parade.
What a nice parade.
There were so many people out at this parade, and given what had just happened last week, people were nervous. Because there were rumors about these other events being targets. They wanting to make people. We didn't know if there were any others that were still at large, but it was great to see so many people out in force.
But I think people, while there's a bit of fear, I think people want to come together.
They do.
I mean, we went to the Candlelight Vigil. We know that there was like 4,000 to 5,000 people at that Candlelight Vigil at Sam Manuel Stadium. People want to be together right now. They want that sense of community and closeness. We don't want to be living our lives in fear, and it was just a beautiful thing to be in Redlands for that Christmas parade.
So one of my favorite things about the night, and that there were great floats and all of this, but there's this elementary school band that's district-wide in Redlands, and it's called the Orange Blob. I'm not making it up. That's what they, in the band communities, the friends that we went with have a daughter who is at Citrus Valley High School, and she plays percussion, and she's been in band since she was in elementary school, and so they were at one time Orange Blob parents. But these kids sounded awesome, and the drums were really good, and then we realized, of course, they were ringers for the drums because the drums were amazing. So they had some adults and some teenagers in there, but the kids were just fantastic, playing simple stuff, and it was awesome.
It was really cool.
It was really cool. We went to was it Las Fuentes?
Yeah, the restaurant there by the movie theater.
By the movie theater, and that was delicious, and so it was nice. It was a nice day to be out among people. And then Sunday morning, tell everybody what you did.
I got to go run in the 5K, and they actually had a half marathon, but I didn't do that, for the Holiday Classic for Loma Linda. And I'm wearing my beautiful pink medal. I'll hold it up for the people watching on Ustream. And they put on a great event. I've never been to this one before, but at the last minute, a friend of mine said, hey, you got to come run this. And I would have probably, under normal circumstances, done the half marathon, but the Saturday before that, I had run a 12-mile run. And so to do 2 back-to-back long runs doesn't really fit with my training program, so I just did the 5K.
Right, because you don't want to. You certainly don't want to injure yourself.
Yeah. But
not
yeah,
when
it was
you have
good.
big races coming up.
It was a good race, and we have some friends out there from the Loma Linda Lopers that just put on a fabulous race for people.
And there was a pancake breakfast.
Pancake breakfast afterwards, right there at the fire station in Loma Linda. A lot of our local Rotarians were there volunteering. Another great sort of community event. They had about 1,000 runners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, the Loma Linda Lopers, it's a walking/running group.
Yep.
They train every Sunday morning and it's for the LA Marathon. But they have they have different groups that are at different fitness levels. And I think it's like $100 to join or something. And they get ready for the marathon, which is
wonderful
great.
Wonderful group. And if you're interested in getting healthy in the new year, I know that's a lot of people put that on their list, right? Their little wish list things they want to do.
After all the eating, drinking, and being merry over the holidays.
Yeah. So go check out the Loma Linda Lopers. I'm pretty sure they have a website, and you can find out about what they offer. And whatever your fitness level is, they'll take you and help you to get ready and get fit and walk, and then maybe eventually run and get to do a marathon. A lot of fun.
And there's a reason, Tobin and I tend to on Monday mornings talk about what we did over the weekend, because I think it's important that that people hear that there's all kinds of great stuff going on here at the in the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
And in Redlands and San Bernardino. I hope Christmas Tree Lane on Friday night, and then also Saturday they had a luncheon event. I hope it brought in a lot of money. Their goal this year is to serve 100,000 kids.
Yeah.
And which is a very ambitious goal. It's significantly greater than what they've done in the past.
And it's part of Santa Claus Incorporated. It's their big event, and they give out clothing and toys to needy children at Christmas time, and it's just
throughout the year.
And throughout the year, but just an amazing organization. and we've got to have them back on the show.
We
They've been on before. But they just do great things. And I think their distribution's coming up this week or next week because we're going to actually start handing out for the Christmas season.
Yes, and parents will come in and shop. I put shop in air quotes because they don't pay for anything. But the nice thing about it, the whole goal is for the parent to be able to give the child a Christmas present.
Yep.
So that the child looks to the parent as the provider. And so there's a respect for dignity there that I really, really like. And of course, Santa Claus Incorporated was founded by Mignon Schweitzer, and I think it was in the 50s that she did that. So it's a wonderful organization. We had Kim Carter on a couple of times, and I want to say this quick before we go to a break. Last night was the big CNN reveal about the
hero
top
of the year.
hero of the year. She did not get number one, but she is absolutely our hero of the year. And given how dark last week was, it was nice to have that nice bright spot. Keep it going, Kim Carter. You are amazing, and everybody at Time for Change Foundation. So at 6:15, I'm Erin Brinker,
and I'm Tobin Brinker.
It's time for a break. We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5.
E-Digits. Lock them in for more information, recreation, and guaranteed fun. KCAA.
In the mood for some great Chinese food? Well, Mr. Yu's Chinese Food is where you need to be. Mr. Yu's Chinese Food not only has a delicious dinner menu, they also offer delicious lunch specials including their yummy fried rice and chow mein. But get this, it also includes any two items just for $5.85. Or you can get any one item for only $4.85. You should also try their Big Bowl special for just $4.10. The service is fast and friendly. Mr. Yu's Chinese Food is located at 256 Carousel Mall in San Bernardino, California. To contact Mr. Yu's Chinese Food, call 909-383-0195. Again, that's 909-383-0195. And yes, the Carousel Mall is still open.
That's right! Hi, this is Steve Alladort from Rancho Financial with the Mortgage Minute. With property values increasing, this might be the perfect time to do a loan checkup to see if it makes sense to refinance. Do you have an equity line? If your equity line is getting close to 10 years old, your payment is about to fully amortize. Coupled with the certainty that the feds will soon increase short-term rates, there might be a substantial jump in payment on your line of credit. If we combine your current loan, equity line, and possibly even some of your credit debt, there could be a substantial reduction in what you have to pay each month. Do you have VA eligibility? VA will allow 100% cash-out financing. This may be a perfect time to use your eligibility. We can go 85% cash out with FHA or 80% with a standard conventional loan. There are many possible options that could make a huge difference in your monthly payments. That's why you need a loan financial planner to provide you with all of your possible options. Give me a call, Steve Alladort, at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070, or go to loanfinancialplanner.com.
And now it's time for another Support San Bernardino Spotlight.
Hi, my name is George Hahn. I am the Senior Minister at the Center for Spiritual Living Inland Empire. In the next few weeks, we would like to support San Bernardino by highlighting the outstanding things about our city. Today's program features
Dennis Baxter from Habitat for Humanity.
Thank you, George. I'm very proud that Habitat for Humanity San Bernardino area has been serving the residents of the area since 1992, so that's 24 years of building homes and building hope. Each partner family participates in our own curriculum in the greater San Bernardino area that provides guidance and resources to a successful long-term experience as being a homeowner. We have financial literacy classes that they go through so they understand the difference between being a homeowner and being a renter. Our Brush with Kindness program helps out low-income folks with, simple chores around the house. And, of course, our Restore, located in Redlands, is a real part of our fundraising effort. So it's building homes, it's building hope. Folks can give us a call at 909-478-1176 or habitatsb.org.
This program was underwritten by Center for Spiritual Living Inland Empire. If you would like information about today's program, please contact me, Reverend George, by calling 909-883-7171. That's 909-883-7171.
Are you looking for the right place to purchase your landscaping items? Well, come see us at Hydroscape. Hydroscape offers a large selection of irrigation products including Irritrol and Toro. such as their efficient precision nozzles. For 40 years, Hydroscape has been family-owned and operated, serving Southern California. With 17 locations, our knowledgeable and experienced staff is equipped to help you with all your irrigation, landscape, and outdoor living projects. Whether you're installing irrigation systems, wanting to maintain a healthy landscape, or simply create a beautiful lit space for outdoor entertaining, Hydroscape is the place to go. Visit our website at hydroscape.com for more information and find helpful articles on our blog, or call our customer service center at 1-800-395-4477.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
Everybody shut up. Everyone listen up. Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050, and of course, big fans of Weird Al. So the president's speech was big news last night. He hasn't made these speeches. He's made a lot of speeches, but this kind of speech he hasn't made in a long time.
I think this was the third one, from the Oval Office that he's made.
Yes.
And the fact that it's in the Oval Office gives it a level of gravitas, also that it was a primetime speech, about a major issue of the day.
So the Wall Street Journal has a synopsis of the speech, and then we can give our own opinions of what we felt after it was done.
Yeah, so the Wall Street Journal basically breaks the speech down into 5 major themes, and I think they do a pretty decent job of helping us to understand what the president was talking about. So here are the top themes of Mr. Obama's rare Oval Office speech. The first theme is the evolution of terrorism. Mr. Obama unambiguously called the San Bernardino attack terrorism. He noted that the U.S. has been at war with terrorism since the September 11th, 2001 attacks at the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. But at the same time, Mr. Obama noted that the threat from terrorism has changed. Instead of confronting complex, multifaceted attacks like 9/11, the United States is now seeing the rise of less complicated acts of violence like this mass shooting. A quote from the speech: "We see growing efforts by terrorists to poison the minds of people like the Boston Marathon bombers and the San Bernardino killers," Mr. Obama said about the process of American citizens or residents being radicalized or inspired by foreign terrorist organizations. The second major theme of the speech was the limit of American power. Mr. Obama said that the United States should continue working with international partners as well as using targeted airstrikes and special forces as needed to strike against terrorist networks, but he also warned against an expansive ground war against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, 2 countries where the group has made major inroads in the past few years. Mr. Obama called for a sustainable victory using minimal amounts of U.S. ground forces, saying that the Islamic State would only grow stronger as an insurgency against an occupying power. His quote, "We will prevail by being strong and smart, resilient and relentless," he said. The third major theme, and this seemed to be a big one, was debating the role of Islam in terrorism. Mr. Obama made a plea to avoid demonizing Muslims and Islam in the wake of the terrorist attack, while also acknowledging that the Muslim community needed to grapple with the issues of radicalization and political violence. His remarks urged Americans to see Muslims in their communities as neighbors, friends, and countrymen, and to avoid bigotry and discrimination. If we're to succeed in defeating terrorism, we must enlist Muslim communities as some of our strongest allies rather than pushing them away through suspicion and hate, Mr. Obama said. He also added that does not mean denying the fact that an extremist ideology has spread within some Muslim communities. It's a real problem that Muslims must confront without excuse. The fourth major theme was the need to enlist Congress. Mr. Obama suggested a number of specific actions for Congress to take, hoping to share the responsibility of fighting terrorism more broadly with the Republican-controlled legislature. Mr. Obama said that Congress should prevent people that are suspected of links to terrorism from buying weapons. He also said that he was willing to work with Congress on stronger screening procedures for visitors. Finally, he urged Congress to pass an authorization of military force against the Islamic State. "I think it's time for Congress to vote to demonstrate that the American people are united and committed to this fight," Mr. Obama said. And then the fifth and final theme of the speech was the role of guns. Mr. Obama has repeatedly called for stricter laws about the sale and possession of firearms, and he briefly addressed the issue in his remarks on Sunday. In addition to proposing a ban on terrorism suspects from buying weapons, Mr. Obama also called for an assault weapons ban. We also need to make it harder for people to buy powerful assault weapons like the ones that were used in San Bernardino. I know that there are some who reject any gun safety measures, but the fact is that our intelligence and law enforcement agencies, no matter how effective they are, cannot identify every would-be mass shooter, whether that individual is motivated by ISIL or some other hateful ideology, Mr. Obama said.
So I think it's important before I feel the need to tell everybody how I felt last night after this speech, and to provide context for why I felt that way. So after the Paris shootings and bombings and all, the Paris attacks, President Hollande was unequivocal in his. This is a declaration of war against France, and he was very strong, very determined. We're going to fight this enemy. We're going to defeat this enemy. Was the tenor of his speech, and I felt that our president did the opposite, where there may have been, if you read it on paper, there may have been some stronger language, but his affect was very flat, and it was. I felt lectured about making sure that we don't hate Muslims when. He
gave that more time in his speech.
He did. He gave that significantly more time. And while I understand that that we certainly don't want hate crimes to increase, this happened in our city. There's, and as I've said repeatedly, all of us know, not all of us, many, many, many of us, especially in the nonprofit community where I work, know people who were in that room.
Yeah.
And if you don't know people who are the victims, people that were actually shot, you're probably only 1 or 2 degrees separated from them. So you know people who know them.
Yeah.
And so this is not abstract. This is very real to us. And what I needed from my president was to make. I needed to know that he was going to protect us. I needed to know that he was as angry at these terrorists as I am. I needed to know that the FBI or whomever was going to step up their rooting out of people who are seem to be following this terrorist ideology. And I didn't get that from him, and I needed that from him.
Yeah. For me, as I look through these 5 themes, I think there's some good and some bad mixed in here. The first theme about the evolution of terror, I was actually pleasantly surprised for the first time to hear the president sort of use those words, this is terrorism. Like, it seems like he's been dancing around that.
But he didn't say radical Islam.
No, I know. But he's beginning to move towards some language that actually shows that he's starting to get what the problem is. A little bit, and that gave me just a little bit of hope. So I don't want to completely slam him. I felt like...
Well, and I'm not slamming him. I'm telling you what I needed to hear that I didn't hear.
I agree, and I also felt the speech fell flat for me. But I'm just saying that's like one of the little bright spots in the speech. I felt like he at least finally is starting to recognize what the real problem is. I wasn't real pleased with the theme of the limits of American power. I think that he misunderstands sort of what our role is and what we can do with the that if we really just sort of committed to taking these guys out, we could take them out, and that we would be seen as liberators. I think that to do it properly, though, we kind of have to abandon the idea of getting rid of Assad, that we've got to sort of join with Russia.
Well, that engages us with Russia.
I know, and I think that we kind of have to say, okay, guys, you know what? We're going to have to flip-flop on that. The bigger problem here is ISIS. We've got to take them out. Assad's a problem, but we're going to work with Russia to contain that problem. We need to take out ISIS.
Yes, and then, I keep going, but I have a problem with, it rubs me wrong. The president always says ISIL, and I'll tell you why in just a minute.
Yeah. The role of Islam and terrorism, again, this is kind of a mixed bag for me. I think that the president is absolutely correct that we need to work with our Muslim communities in partnership, that there needs to be a positive connection there. We can't be using hate speech and doing all kinds.
Agree.
I absolutely agree. But I really feel that there's an underlying message there, which is that there's that he seems to, because of his focus on it and the way he focuses on it, like he acts sometimes like that's the bigger problem, is that there's this American intolerance towards Muslims that's created this environment, that's created this terrorism. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that there are mass discrimination against Muslims. I don't see us I don't see mosques being burned down. I don't see Muslims being dragged through the streets here in America, beaten and attacked. I don't see that happening. And so, again, I feel like we're being lectured about a problem that doesn't really exist. And while certainly people are saying some horrible things online.
They are saying horrible things online.
And I've seen those things. That's the cost of a nation that believes in free speech, And I don't condone those words. I don't think that they're beneficial or helpful. But we live in a country that allows that to happen. I am a white male Catholic. I can't tell you how many times in my life I've seen people bashing white men and Catholics. I see it all the time in different forums. I've had people say stuff to my face before. You know what? That's the cost of living in America because we allow free speech. And a smart person either lets it roll off their back or they respond to it in an intelligent, articulate way, and we have dialogue. So I have a little bit of problem with that one.
It is 6:30, so we'll save the ISIL conversation for the last segment. I'm Aaron Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. We'll be right back.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
California headline news. The head of the Justice Department warns against jumping to the conclusion that last week's mass shooting in San Bernardino was the work of ISIS.
Can't say definitively right now what led either of these two people to pick up guns and become murderers. I can say that is the focus of our investigation.
Attorney General Loretta Lynch says there's not enough evidence to show the group inspired the attack that killed 14 and injured more than 20 others. The city's religious figures led their flocks in prayer Sunday.
The messages on this Sunday were very similar.
Let us pray together to our Heavenly Father.
The Creator God who loves all mankind does not show partiality.
Every human being deserves a dignified existence.
The goal, say those religious leaders, is to see that the community, torn apart by tragedy, finds recovery in drawing closer.
Correspondent Jim Ryan, CHP, saying a helicopter barely avoided a mid-air crash with a drone over the Bay Area this past weekend. Geico weather, continued warm conditions in Southern California, cloudy, slight chance for showers in the Bay Area. Jeff Scott, California News.
And now, Geico saving stories. Nikki Peasley was happily married to Scott. However, something between them changed after Scott spent 15 minutes on Geico.com.
Constant gifts, chocolates, flowers, like he discovered a cash tree.
Cash tree, indeed. Unbeknownst to Nikki, Scott had saved hundreds of dollars on their car insurance by switching to Geico.
His gifts never stop.
Geico. Spend 15 minutes and 15% or more in savings could be gifted to you.
At Geico, we've been innovating car insurance for over 75 years with forward-thinking ideas like online quotes and the Geico mobile app. And to prove it, we'll play one of our first radio commercials from 75 years ago.
By Jiminy, Geico could save you money on your car insurance, which is what we'll be doing over 75 years from now. Who knows, maybe with some sort of application that's accessible on a futuristic handheld device. We'll call them online quotes.
See? Forward thinking.
Geico, saving people money for over 75 years.
It's time for your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic update. I'm Aaron Brinker. San Bernardino, we still have a road closures from the investigation of last week's terrorist act on Waterman Avenue, northbound and southbound between the 10 and East Mill Street are closed. Alternate routes, try Mount Vernon, the 215 or Alabama. San Bernardino Avenue is also closed in both directions between Richardson and Mountain View. Alternate routes, try 5th Street or the 10. In Chino, stop-and-go traffic on the 60 westbound between Mountain Avenue and the 57 Orange Freeway. The 10 west is slow in pockets from Archibald to the 57. The 210 west is slow from Carnelian Street to Foothill Boulevard. In Corona, stop-and-go traffic on the 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green River Road. The 71 south is busy between Pine Avenue and the 91. The 15 north is heavy from Ontario Avenue to the 91. In Moreno Valley, an accident. The shoulder is blocked on the 215 northbound before Alessandro Boulevard. There's an injury crash there that's been moved to the two left lanes. CHP has the left lane on the 215 south as well. The 215 north is slow from Cactus. In Fontana, an accident. Shoulder is blocked on the 10 eastbound at Citrus Avenue. A wreck involving a couple of big rigs is still along the right shoulder. Watch for slowing as you approach. And finally in Hesperia, slow traffic on the 395 southbound between Phelan Road and I-15. This has been your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Aaron Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Rod Tanner. For today, we expect mostly sunny skies as we begin the week with a high of 79. The humidity partly cloudy tonight with a low of around 50. Tuesday should be mostly sunny and warmer with a high of 82. We'll have partly cloudy conditions Tuesday night, a low of 48. Wednesday looks mostly sunny with a high of 79. We'll have partly cloudy conditions Wednesday night with a low of 48. There's a chance of a shower through the day Thursday. The humidity mostly sunny with a high of 72. Friday again, there's a chance of rain in the morning. We'll have a mostly sunny day with a high near 60. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind, NBC News Radio, AM 1050 KCAA.
Your application looks great, but I'm not seeing any marketing experience.
The ad said mechanic needed.
Right, but I need a mechanic/marketing wizard. What do you know about reputation management?
Nothing.
Search engine optimization?
Is that under the hood?
Let Dex Media be your marketing department. We can help with any digital marketing solution from search to social. Contact Dex Media, that's DEX Media, to get found, get chosen, and get talked about. Call 844-230-3436 or visit dexmedia.com today.
Miss something today, yesterday, last week? Check out our podcasts at www.kcaaradio.com. We leave no listener behind.
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. So excited to introduce and welcome to the show Monty Hunt. He is the owner of Supreme Choice Insurance Solutions with offices in Ranch Cucamonga and Ontario. And this is the kind of the time of year when people look their insurance over, make sure they have the coverage they need, especially with the El Nino coming. Maybe people are starting businesses. And so we're going to talk about that today. Monty, welcome to the show.
Monty, are you there?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you on the show.
I'm glad to be here.
So first of all, tell us about Supreme Choice Insurance Solutions.
Supreme Choice, we are an independent agency in California based out of Rancho Cucamonga. That means that we represent the clients and not a particular insurance company, so we can always make sure the clients are getting what they need at something that's highly competitive.
So let's talk first about homeowners insurance with this El Nino coming. There are different categories of water damage, as Tobin and I found out back in 2004 when we had a lot of rain. There's the difference between flooding and rain that drips down from the roof and all. Can you talk about all of that?
Absolutely. Most people have the misconception that their homeowner's policy is going to cover for flood damage, which is something that happens on the ground, that doesn't come from the sky. And your homeowner's policy, in fact, does not cover that. It's a separate policy, much like you would buy a earthquake policy that's also going to be separate for an earthquake itself. So a flood policy is going to cover for water or mud damage that comes into your home that's based from flooding.
Now, let's talk about the rain. Maybe there's a crack in your roof that you don't know about. Talk about what you need for the kind that comes from the roof.
Now, that's going to be a homeowner policy. And it's something that's going to be, if you have damage on your roof, absolutely go get it fixed. But if you don't know about it and something starts leaking in at the time of a storm, you're going to want to get that repaired, and you're going to be able to make a claim against your homeowner's policy, and which is why you need a homeowner's policy if you own a home. If you are renting a home, get a renter's policy to protect your personal belongings, but your landlord is going to be responsible for getting the home itself repaired.
So
if that's the case.
What Tobin and I learned that we were really surprised is that it only takes 72 hours for mold to grow. We had gone away for a long weekend and came back to a green wall, and because it had been raining heavily that weekend, and we only had, I think, was it $2,500 worth of mold coverage, and to fix all of it, including the new roof that we had to put on, was $30,000.
And lots of policies, and that's not uncommon. Lots of policies do not include mold coverage. And people need to check their policy to see if mold coverage is in fact covered And the safest thing to always do is check your roof before it becomes bad. And, in California, we forget about, rain can come seeping through the roof because we don't see it all, very often.
Especially this past year.
Especially this past 4 years. But we need to absolutely we need to absolutely check the roof for leaks, and anytime we get little sprinkles now and again, just go looking at your ceiling to see if there's any water marks, because water does work its way down.
Yeah,
and we're going to get precipitation.
Yeah, and when something goes wrong, it oftentimes goes wrong pretty quickly, and that's why. And you can't always predict when that'll happen. That's why it's make sure you've got good insurance.
Very true. You can't predict everything at all.
So, does it make sense? Talking about homeowners insurance and auto insurance, does it make sense to bundle the two?
It absolutely can make sense to bundle the two. And we have the ability to check on bundled rates and splitting it up to see which one makes more financial sense. But there's lots of reasons to bundle a policy, which is going to include multi-policy discounts, which can be usually pretty substantial. So we check both ways for the clients when we have somebody call in. Is it makes sense to bundle that and save, or can we get an additional savings by doing that with a particular carrier, or does it make more sense to split it up between a carrier or two and see if it comes up less at that rate for the clients as well? So, but yes, bundling savings makes a lot of sense.
So if I'm planning, so say I bought it homeowners insurance, which of course I carry, do I need to take pictures of all my stuff? Do I need to make a list of what everything's worth? Do I send that to my agent? How does that work?
You should absolutely make a list of what you have. That way in case you are, broken into and somebody, relieves you of your own possessions, you need to have a list of things that you had, and you can say, hey, these are the things that I had as of whatever date, and you should probably update that once a year. And this is what I had. These are the things that are missing based on what we could see on the list. Now, obviously, to get every single item you ever have in your house, that would be a bit tedious. But, make a list of your major things, how many dollars in clothing, whatever, to protect yourself.
So I made a list, but I kept it on my computer, and then my computer was stolen. So, do you have insurance for that?
Security updates. There's several products that do uploads or backups, like Carbonite, for instance.
Or Dropbox.
If you're going to keep something, or Dropbox. I would suggest something.
Do you have insurance for just being plain stupid?
I mean, I'm everything.
I'm teasing, but sometimes I feel that way. That's what I mean. Stupid insurance, right? Oh my goodness.
I would use absolutely a Dropbox, a Google Docs, and I would back up my data on my computer every day if I were you or anybody else out there.
So, Monty, I'm looking at your website, and I'm wondering, can they do everything on your website? Should they call first, and then, I mean, how does that work? What's the best way to get insurance? Should I talk to a person and get that personal touch, or should it just be done this sort of impersonal thing where I just go click a bunch of boxes online? What's the right way to do that, and what do you suggest?
I always use, people go to our website, but it's just to initiate a conversation.
Okay.
And they'll go and submit their information to us, but it's always better to talk to a person because there's really so much detail. You can spend a lot of time on somebody's website entering information about yourself, and hope it's enough information for that guy on the other end receiving it to properly assist you. It's always better to talk to a person because they need to find out what your true needs are. If you're saying you're going to get a renter's policy, you have no idea what all the value of your stuff is or what it even covers. So you don't know what information to put in on a website. So you put in just some random number. It's much better to talk to a person to help them, to help you understand what it is you are purchasing the coverage for. So that way you're properly covered. So I would always suggest, some people have no time. They go to the website, they'll put in information. It's just to get things started. And then we can follow up with you at a later time that's convenient to go over everything and do the fine-tuning.
Now, what about business insurance? If you have a home-based business, will your homeowner's policy cover any business losses, or do you have to get a separate business liability or whatever insurance?
Now, that's going to depend on your carrier. There are some carriers that will do an endorsement or a rider in order to put business coverage on there for you. And that's going to protect you should something happen while you're in your home. But really, your business insurance is going to cover for what you do, not only in your home, but when you're out, as far as protecting people. So if you have a business, and even if you're running it from home, you should definitely get a business policy.
All right. Well, we have just about a minute left. How do people get a hold of you? Do you have a website, et cetera?
Okay, we can be found at www.supreme-choice.com, and we could also be contacted at area code 909-587-4223, and any one of our team members can assist you based on what kind of coverage you're looking for.
And it's a good idea to go through your policy, but once a year?
Absolutely. You want to take a look at your policy once a year. You want to make sure that the coverage is appropriate. If you have a homeowner's policy and you've had it for years, they may not have updated the value to replace your home in the event of a loss. So you're going to want to get that looked at as well to make sure that your company is going to cover you. And they're not just going to say, oh, well, my company, I've been with it for years, they're going to cover me. If that house is undervalued, you need to make sure that the value of that house to rebuild it is re-estimated and properly adjusted.
Awesome. Well, Monty, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been helpful. It's time for a financial tune-up that includes your insurance policies.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. That's Monty Hunt from Supreme Choice Insurance Solutions at supreme-choice.com. Time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. We'll be right back.
Go ahead and say it. We're all ears. KCAA.
Here's your Money Minute with Market Wrap host Mo Ansari.
If you follow the markets, you've probably been getting seasick lately. But what if I told you that market volatility can be a good thing? If you're a bargain hunter, this is your coupon. So keep your shopping list handy. If you're a long-term investor with plenty of time before retirement, the money going into your 401k each month will buy more shares when the markets are down. And if you have a good financial plan, you can relax while others worry, because that plan will carry you beyond today's headlines. Of course, you should always consider professional guidance before making any financial decisions. That's your Money Minute. I'm Mo Ansari.
For more tips on investing during market volatility and other investment topics, listen to Market Wrap weekdays at 5 p.m. on this station. For a free consultation with Mo Ansari, call 800-388-9700. That's 800-388-9700.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor. Funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA SIPC.
And now it's time for another Support San Bernardino Spotlight.
Hi, my name is George Hahn. I am the Senior Minister at the Center for Spiritual Living Inland Empire. In the next few weeks, we would like to support San Bernardino by highlighting the outstanding things about our city. Today's program features
Dennis Baxter from Habitat for Humanity.
Thank you, George. I'm very proud that Habitat for Humanity San Bernardino area has been serving the residents of the area since 1992, so that's 24 years of building homes and building hope. Each partner family participates in our own curriculum in the greater San Bernardino area that provides guidance and resources to a successful long-term experience as being a homeowner. We have financial literacy classes that they go through so they understand the difference between being a homeowner and being a renter. Our Brush with Kindness program helps out low-income folks with, simple chores around the house. And, of course, our Restore, located in Redlands, is a real part of our fundraising effort. So it's building homes, it's building hope. Folks can give us a call at 909-478-1176 or habitatsb.org.
This program was underwritten by Center for Spiritual Living Inland Empire. If you would like information about today's program, please contact me, Reverend George, by calling 909-883-7171. That's 909-883-7171.
Moreno Valley Schools have more vocational education programs for students. Find out more in the Moreno Valley City News. You can also find local business, sports, and entertainment news. The Moreno Valley News in print and online at MorenoValleyCityNews.com.
Are you particular about the vitamins and supplements you take? Have you found that the big chain stores simply don't have what you need? Then you should know about the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. You'll find rock-bottom prices on gourmet, top-quality vitamins and mineral supplements at the Vitamin Center. Get 30% off on all supplements and homeopathic products. All, not just selected merchandise. In addition, you'll find 30% off on all cosmetics, soaps, shampoos, toothpaste, makeup, hair coloring, and lip gloss. And all tea products are discounted 20%. Why go anywhere else? See for yourself at the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills, or check out the savings and place your order online. VitaminCenterAgoraHills.com. Start saving by getting what you need from the Vitamin Center of Agora Hills. And tell a friend that the Vitamin Center ships nationwide. Call 818-707-0005. That's 818-707-0005. The Vitamin Center of Agora Hills.
Are you thirsty for books that will fill your soul with wisdom, joy, and inspiration? Then take a refreshing and nourishing drink at Alice's Quiet Mind Bookstore, located in the heart of the Agape International Spiritual Center in Culver City, which incidentally was recently featured on The Today Show. From aromatic soy candles to best-selling authors like Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith and a whole host of other visionaries, Alice's Quiet Mind Bookstore has everything to soothe your body, spirit, and soul. For more info and directions, visit agapelive.com today.
Wishing for a little bit more information? You'll get it all here on KCAA Radio.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050 and FM 106.5. Continue our conversation that we had before talking with Monty from Supreme Choice. There are three different names that are used by various agencies, governments, sources for what is most commonly known as ISIS, which is the Islamic State. And there's also different Islamic State of Iraq and Al-Sham, or Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS. But our government tends to use the name ISIL. And ISIL is the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. And that name bothers me. And, the Levant is an old term that refers to the Mediterranean lands east of Italy. So it includes Greece, Cyprus, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Turkey, and Israel. ISIS is fighting to establish a single caliphate over that entire region. That's their mission. They want to impose Sharia on this entire region, and this is what they're fighting for. The reason why ISIL bothers me so much is that it pretends to give, or it can give, or perhaps it does give, a legitimacy to claims of ownership over that region, because it's this old term called the Levant. And what it means is that this old term has been around longer than the state of Israel has been around, and that all of this should be under a single caliphate.
Yeah, it's an argument that ISIS, that these terrorists are wanting to make,
yes,
which is that they have some historical claim to this land, and that what they're doing is simply reclaiming their land.
Exactly.
And when the president uses the word ISIL, he gives some credence to that argument.
And of course, the State Department does it as well. And
yeah. So you would prefer if they used ISIS, which basically just limits them to Syria and doesn't give them this sort of historical relevancy.
And Islamic State is also problematic because they're not a state.
Exactly.
They're a terrorist organization.
Yeah, I think we should come up with our own name for them, and it should be something that's wholly offensive to them.
Well, actually, you say that, and I'm glad you say that. There is a wholly offensive name for them.
Yeah.
It's called Daesh, or Daesh, Daesh, and apparently they have told people, or they have done this, that they'll cut out the tongues of anybody who uses this term to describe them.
Okay.
And it is obviously our State Department has chosen not to use this term. Again, they use ISIL. I just became aware of Daesh. I'm going to be honest with you. I just found out about that one's probably why I may be pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah.
That was in a conversation last night. But I did some reading, and indeed, ISIS has said that they will cut out the tongue of anybody who uses that term.
Yeah.
So, I've actually heard it, and I don't know whether or not this is correct either, but I have also heard it pronounced Dash.
Well, sure, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
So I don't know that that's
frame
correct.
Of reference.
but-
I've only seen it written, so but it's a double entendre, and one of the meanings is somebody who imposes their will on others, and so it seems apropos to me.
Yes. Yes. So back to the president's speech last night. There were, again, 5 main themes. I talked about 3 of them, and the last 2 I just want to talk about real quick, and then we can kind of talk more about what's happening here locally with since the attack last Wednesday. One of the themes was the need to enlist Congress, and the president called on Congress to give him an authorization, essentially an authorization for war against ISIS, Daesh, whatever you want to call them, and I agree. I think that they probably should. Everything the president's been doing so far has been under the auspices of the old Iraq War authorization, and so I think Congress does need to step up. Now, the thing where I take issue is I think the president was also sort of trying to shift some of the blame for why things haven't gone so well to say, well, Congress isn't really supportive, which I don't necessarily agree with either. So I think that was a little game that he's playing. And then the final thing was the role of guns, and this is where I have my biggest problem with what the president's speech was intending to do. He was, I believe, suggesting solutions that wouldn't have protected us from what just happened here in San Bernardino, and that's why I felt it offensive. So his idea about let's get rid of people, or let's put people who are on the terror watch list, make it so they can't buy guns. Well, guess what? The 2 people who shot up San Bernardino weren't on a terror watch list. It would not have stopped them from getting guns.
Yes.
And then his second thing about banning assault weapons. Well, California bans assault weapons. We have some of the strictest gun laws in the nation, and they still got their hands on them.
Well,
and so this idea that we could create these laws and they would keep us safe, I think, is naive. I think that it's a solution that sounds nice but doesn't really do anything.
And we had Lieutenant Rich Lawhead on last week on Thursday, which of course was the day after the event. And he said, it's really easy to change a gun once you have it. You can increase the magazine size. So the clip size is one thing that's limited in California. You can increase the clip size. You can make it fully automatic when it was just semi-automatic. There are things that you can do once you own the firearm. And the other thing that we have here in California is a porous border with Mexico and 1,000 miles of coastline. Somebody could pull up in a personal watercraft and unload guns, and nobody would know the difference. I mean, it assumes that we have the ability to completely halt the sale of illegal weapons. Now, I understand that 2 of the weapons that were used in this attack last Wednesday were bought legally. However, I don't think this will solve the problem.
Yeah. So you mentioned the 2 weapons. One of the interesting things about that is apparently they were purchased by a neighbor.
Yes.
And this neighbor has now checked himself into a mental hospital.
Yes.
Which I can totally imagine. I mean, if you found out that you bought these guns and then sold them to your neighbor and then he used them to kill a bunch of people, that would mess with me mentally.
My gosh, me too. I'd be finished.
But this young man, this individual, once he gets out of that mental institution, is probably going to be interrogated, I'm certain, by the FBI, and may actually be up on some sort of charges if he didn't possibly register those transfers properly and do what he was supposed to do legally. Because, again, that's one of the ways we keep guns out of the hands of people, is that there are laws.
So I have been impressed with the speed with which our local law enforcement, partnering with the FBI, have been moving through the investigation of what happened last week. And I understand what the president was trying to say, and I think one of the things that his style is so professorial. I needed a fighter last night, and I didn't hear that. I didn't get that from him. But that is not who he is. He's Professor Obama, and so he is going to sound professorial. That's his style. I need that strength, and I need Congress to be pushing it as well.
So we only have a minute or so left, and I wanted to just finish up today by talking about the fact that thousands of San Bernardino County workers are going back to work today, and that they were basically given the rest of last week off. The 2 departments that were primarily affected by the shooting,
environmental health and public health,
they're not coming back yet. They're going to get another week off, but a lot of folks are going back, and there's a lot of unease. And you and I have spoken with county supervisors, and they are taking steps to up security for these folks. And we just wish you all well as you go back to work, to hold each other close, to be aware, to be vigilant, and let's not let this this horrible thing that happened, define us. Let's rise above it, and just love each other in this time of the year, and try to be strong. SB strong, right?
Yes, SB strong. It's 6:59. That show is over. We'll end it on that note. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. Have a great day, everybody.
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! I need someone. Help!
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and KCAA FM Yucaipa 106.5 FM.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. Crude prices are falling. That's after OPEC decided to keep pumping oil at its current rate, doing nothing to relieve the worldwide glut, and that's dragging the energy sector down this morning. Gasoline prices are down 4 cents over the past 2 weeks. The Lundberg survey shows the average price at the pump is at $2.10 per gallon. That's the lowest since late January, when gas cost $2.07. The deal is off. General Electric calling off a deal to sell its appliance business to Electrolux for more than $3 billion. The transaction faced a lot of regulatory pressure from U.S. authorities, concerned a merge would push up prices for consumers. And Carl Icahn taking a 12% stake in Pep Boys. The auto parts maker agreed to sell itself to Bridgestone in October. Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio.
Meet Vince. Vince hurt himself mountain biking on Saturday.
Because weekend warrior.
Because noob.
Hey.
Vince is supposed to host an important presentation, but he's not going anywhere in that cast. What should he do?
Rhetorical question.
Vince should try GoToMeeting, the simple way to host meetings online, complete with video conferencing and screen sharing. Send out a meeting link and anyone can join from any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Just takes a click.
Where do I sign up?
Visit GoToMeeting.com to start your free 30-day trial. That's GoToMeeting.com.
There are no guarantees in love, but there is a guarantee from EH Plus by eHarmony, our new personal matchmaking service. At EH Plus, your own personal matchmaker gets to know you so well, we can guarantee introductions that will be satisfying and exciting. EH Plus goes far beyond regular online dating sites, and that's a guarantee. Visit us at ehplus.com/love or call 1-855-930-LOVE.
If you're trying to prevent a home foreclosure, you need the Goodman Law Firm on your side. Goodman has a nationwide network of foreclosure attorneys to represent you during the mortgage mitigation process. The Goodman Firm has resolved troubled mortgages across the nation. Take control of your mortgage situation today. Call the Goodman Law Firm, 888-800-6030, or contact them online at www.arnoldgoodmanlaw.com.
With your Monday news, I'm Jim Miller for CNBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind. A 5.5-acre parcel of land in Moreno Valley spread to 3 different structures, which had a huge black plume of smoke out of the air and shut down roads Sunday. Fire was reported just after 1:30 in the afternoon in the area of Cottonwood Avenue and Nason Street. It started in one structure before spreading to 2 other structures of the property. Fire was finally contained about 40 minutes after firefighters got on the scene. Inland Regional Center employees being escorted one by one to the crime scene to retrieve their vehicles, left stranded since Wednesday's deadly mass shooting that killed 14. Police officials said the FBI is gradually reaching out to employees once their vehicles have been cleared. About 80 vehicles were still left in the parking lot. Downward trend in gas prices over the past several weeks appears to have stalled. Automobile Club of Southern California says wholesale prices have been rising in response to increased demand during the holiday season. Pump prices are not expected to fall below below 2015's low point reached last January. Average price was at $2.45 a gallon compared to just under $2.80 now in Southern California. Statewide averages is about 10 cents less. 2 people dead in Apple Valley Airport shut down Sunday after an airplane crashed. That plane, an L-39 jet, crashing and then catching on fire. It prompted the arrival of firefighters. Investigations ongoing into the cause. No names have been released at this time. I'm Joe Miller, CNBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
It's time for your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker. In San Bernardino, we still have 2 road closures. The first one on Waterman, both northbound and southbound between the 10 and East Mill Street due to police investigations. Alternate route, try Mount Vernon, the 215 or Alabama. The second closure is San Bernardino Avenue, which is closed in both directions between Richardson and Mountain View. An alternate route, try 5th Street or the 10 freeway. In Chino, stop and go traffic on the 60 westbound between Mountain Avenue and the 57 Orange Freeway. The 10 west is slow in pockets from Mountain Avenue to the 57. The 210 west is slow from Cornelia Street to Foothill Boulevard. In Corona, stop and go traffic on the 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green River Road. East is slow from Adams Street to Arlington. The 71 south is busy between Pine Avenue and the 91. The 15 north is heavy from Ontario Avenue to the 91. In Temecula, an accident has been cleared on the 15 southbound at California 79 Winchester Road. Crash cleared from the left shoulder. Traffic is slow from the 215 to Rainbow Valley Boulevard. In Paris, stop and go traffic on the 215 northbound between Redlands Avenue and Harley Knox Boulevard. In Moreno Valley, stop and go traffic on the 215 northbound between Cactus Avenue and University Avenue. The 60 west is busy between Heacock and the 215. In Moreno Valley, an accident has been cleared on the 215 northbound before Alessandro Boulevard. In Fontana, an accident, the shoulder is blocked on the 10 eastbound at Citrus Avenue. A wreck involving a couple of big rigs is still along the right shoulder. Watch for slowing as you approach. There is a lot of guardrail damage from this accident. And finally, in Hesperia, there's slow traffic on the 395 southbound between Phelan Road and the 15. This has been your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker.
This report has been brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call their 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
Bringing down the market today, but don't forget the airline stocks are the other side of that trade. They're having a very good day. We have the Dow down 110 points, another triple-digit day after that huge day on Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average right now is at 17,737, about where it began the year. The S&P 500 is down 14 points right now. That works out to about 0.7%. The S&P is at 2,077, once again about where it began the year. What are the prospects for next year? Well, we'll get into that in today's show. The NASDAQ is down 33 points right now. That's 0.65%. The NASDAQ